What if that restlessness that tightens your chest as soon as you wake up wasn't just a passing nuisance? What if the tiredness that persists even after a good night's sleep was hiding something deeper? I know how hard it is to carry this feeling every day, as if your body and mind were on constant alert, even when everything around you seems calm. You may have noticed that, even when you want to relax, your mind doesn't stop, your thoughts race, and that silent anguish takes over, making simple moments of rest difficult to achieve. It's a daily struggle that often seems invisible to those around you, but weighs heavily on the hearts and bodies of those who experience it. What few people know is that small natural changes, such as the use of some specific herbs, can bring quick and delicate relief, helping to restore internal balance in a practical and accessible way. Many people over 60 have found comfort in the power of these plants, which act gently on the nervous system without serious side effects. If you're looking for safe and natural ways to deal with this tightness that doesn't go away, follow these weekly tips specially designed for you, with simple and effective techniques that respect your rhythm. Join this welcoming community that understands your challenges and wants to walk alongside you towards greater peace of mind and well-being. That feeling of fatigue that won't go away, the restlessness that persists even after a good night's rest, or that tightness in your chest when you wake up shouldn't be ignored. These signs are a real warning from your body, indicating that something inside you is out of balance. It's not just a getting older thing or a mere temporary discomfort. Your body is trying to warn you that your mind and body are under tension that deserves attention. Often, these symptoms arise because the nervous system, over time, becomes more sensitive and overreacts to situations that were previously easier to deal with. It's as if a small concern turns into a silent storm, affecting your well-being on a daily basis. This persistent tension is not an inevitable punishment, but a sign that your body is in a constant state of alert, even without an apparent immediate reason. Think of your nervous system as a radio tuned to a very high frequency. When the volume is turned up, any noise, no matter how small, seems too loud and bothersome. Your body works like this. When this frequency is too high, it interprets small signals as major threats, causing restlessness, insomnia, and even muscle pain. This internal tension may seem invisible, but it is always present, like an alarm that won't go off. The good news is that this state doesn't have to be permanent. There is a way to bring this frequency back to a calm level, allowing the body and mind to find balance again. But to do so, you need to recognize what is causing this imbalance and act with awareness and care. If these words touched you, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss the next steps on this journey. Type 1 in the comments if you have already felt these signs, or 5 if you still have doubts about what you are experiencing. Let's understand and transform this reality together. The body often speaks through subtle sensations that go unnoticed, but which carry a silent request for care and attention. This internal restlessness, even if vague, reveals that something needs to be addressed so that the mind and body can find a more serene rhythm. A simple gesture of just 30 seconds can be the first step to relieving this accumulated tension. Try a small adjustment that promotes a conscious pause, bringing an immediate feeling of lightness and relaxation. This movement triggers a natural response of relief, softening the weight that the body insists on carrying. It is not a definitive solution, but an invitation for the body to begin to disconnect from the constant state of alert, making room for calm to grow. Mental health experts with years of experience point out that this brief postural change acts as a clear signal to the nervous system, helping to reduce internal pressure and restore balance. It is a gesture that is accessible to everyone and that can be repeated whenever anguish seems to take over. Have you ever felt this silent invitation from your body to slow down? Type, "I will take care of myself from now on," and share this decision with someone who is seeking the same comfort. When adopting this practice, the feeling of immediate comfort spreads throughout the body, like a gentle hug that restores autonomy for movements and thoughts. Tension dissolves, and the mind finds a calmer space to breathe. Imagine the body as a garden that, after days of storms, begins to feel the light breeze that announces sunny days. This small gesture is the seed that plants the hope of a harmonious reunion with oneself, where each moment brings a little more peace and presence. You begin to notice a slight change, almost like a whisper from your body telling you that something is different. Maybe your nights are a little calmer, with less abrupt awakenings, or maybe your walks are taking on firmer, more confident steps. This gentle yet subtle sensation is an invitation to trust the process and appreciate each small improvement. It is essential to recognize that these first responses represent significant achievements. When you take the time to listen patiently and respectfully, your body begins to cooperate, even if the symptoms have not yet completely disappeared. Each sign of improvement is a real step towards a gentler balance, showing that change is underway. Imagine that your body is sending you a silent message, like a discreet thank you for finally receiving attention and care. This partnership between you and your own feelings is precious, as it strengthens your connection with yourself and reveals that the path to well-being is made up of small daily victories. It is a moment of hope where confidence is reborn and the journey becomes more pleasant. Now, I want to hear from you. Press 1 if you have already noticed some improvement, or 5 if you still feel that the beginning is timid and full of challenges. Your participation is important so that we can walk together in this transformation. If the content has helped clarify your path, subscribe to the channel. Each week, we share steps that strengthen the body and mind, and your subscription makes it possible to reach more people who seek this relief. Feel this light breeze of change coming in, preparing the ground for the next step, where we will delve even deeper into the strategies to cultivate serenity and balance. Let's move forward together with calm and hope. Many older adults find that even after a seemingly peaceful night, they wake up with an agitated mind and a heavy body, as if they didn't get enough rest. It's common to attribute this feeling to advancing age, but there's a factor that's rarely noticed that could be fueling this silent restlessness. Imagine that, at the end of the day, you repeatedly review thoughts or worries, as if your brain refuses to turn off alert mode. This habit, often unconscious, can be a major aggravating factor for a constant state of anxiety. This behavior, which even seems natural in stressful situations, keeps the nervous system in a constant state of vigilance. The body reacts as if it were always expecting imminent danger, releasing stress hormones that make it difficult to relax. It's as if you were holding an invisible rope, constantly tense, and this constant effort depletes your energy reserves. As a result, your sleep cycle becomes unregulated, making it difficult to get deep rest and recover your body. It's important to recognize that this reaction is not a personal flaw. Many people have never been taught how to identify these subtle triggers, and so they interpret this agitation as something normal that comes with age. In practice, this tension manifests itself in tangible symptoms: that tightness in the chest when waking up, persistent fatigue that doesn't go away, a confused mind in the first few minutes of the day, and the feeling of being startled by small noises. All of this reinforces the cycle of anxiety and exhaustion. What if this restlessness that seems to come out of nowhere is actually the silent echo of these micro-stresses that the body maintains in an attempt to preserve its safety? This perception reveals a closer look at what is happening behind the apparent calm, inviting us to discover what else may be hidden beneath the surface. You wake up feeling a brief relief, as if the restlessness had dissipated during the night. Your chest feels lighter, your breathing less rapid. But does this improvement mean that the discomfort is gone forever? Often, this feeling of respite is just a temporary respite, not the true recovery we seek. Imagine walking through a terrain full of traps, covered in dry leaves. The ground seems firm, but the danger remains hidden beneath the surface. This is how anxiety works. Its signals may be silenced, but the tension remains latent. ready to manifest at any moment. This temporary calm does not indicate that the problem has been solved, but that the trigger has not yet been activated. In the body's physiology, the nervous system oscillates between states of alert and rest, especially when old emotional patterns have not been interrupted. The body may seem calm, but small stimuli, such as a thought or a noise, reactivate the stress cycle. Breathing, often accelerated or shallow, stimulates inflammatory and hormonal responses, keeping the body in constant readiness, even if momentarily dormant. It's natural to feel frustrated when faced with these setbacks. They don't indicate failure, but rather the need for persistence. Your body is learning to trust again, and to do so, it needs your continued presence, not isolated victories. The journey requires patience, because true balance is built on solid habits, not sporadic moments of calm. Sometimes the silence of agitation is not a sign of healing, but an opportunity to redirect the path before the restlessness returns. It is in this space between crises that transformation begins to take shape. Even on days when things seem to be improving, many elderly people maintain a subtle pattern that limits their progress in well-being. For example, when faced with discomfort, people often avoid any effort that could generate tension, such as simply walking or light exercise. This reaction, although it seems protective, ends up reinforcing the body's state of alert, which remains stuck in silent rigidity. Clinically, this inertia causes a kind of feedback. The nervous system, accustomed to being constantly on alert, interprets the lack of movement as a sign of danger. This prevents the restoration of balance, because the absence of regular stimuli makes it difficult to release stress hormones and blocks the activation of natural relaxation mechanisms. Imagine the body as a suspension bridge that, without the controlled and constant swaying of the wind, begins to rust and lose its flexibility. Without this oscillation, the structure does not adapt, becoming rigid and vulnerable. Likewise, the body needs this intelligent movement to reprogram old patterns that keep anxiety on alert. It is natural to feel fear or doubt when faced with the discomfort that movement can cause. Often, a feeling of guilt arises for not being able to break this cycle, as if it were a personal failure. However, this reaction is a protective response developed over time. Recognizing this is the first step to transforming your relationship with your own body. What if, instead of running away from this internal tension, you could learn to conduct this movement safely, gradually teaching your body to trust? The next step will reveal how this silent change can begin to happen. The moment you start to feel better is crucial. Serenity gradually returns, but it is precisely at this point that many people become overconfident, opening the door for discomfort to reappear. The mistake of premature confidence is common. When you notice fewer symptoms, it is natural to pay less attention to the subtle messages from your body and return to old emotional patterns that previously stimulated restlessness. It is like coming out of a cold and then exposing yourself to the cold wind. Even without obvious symptoms, your body remains vulnerable and can react with unexpected intensity. This return of signals can generate frustration, sadness, and even a feeling of defeat. Know that this does not mean that the progress was in vain. The momentary absence of discomfort does not mean that your recovery is complete, but rather that it is time to reinforce your daily dedication. Your body is opening a gap, a door that can either lead to lasting stability or to the return of tension, depending on what you choose to do next. Now is the time to cultivate an active preventive mindset. View this period without intense manifestations as a valuable opportunity to consolidate gains, and not as a signal to stop the process. Imagine a wound that seems to have healed but still needs a bandage to prevent the skin from breaking again. Your body needs constant care to prevent setbacks. This is exactly where the difference between a temporary improvement and a true transformation begins. Recognizing this stage is essential to moving forward safely and building lasting serenity. If you've made it this far, it's because you've chosen to listen to your body's whisper before it has to scream. This journey of self-knowledge and care has already planted important seeds within you. That silent discomfort that often feels like a burden is actually a delicate messenger. Think of it as a light that flashes to warn you that something needs attention, not to punish, but to guide. Emotional restlessness is like an old-fashioned doorbell. It doesn't ring to scare you, but to awaken what's stuck, asking for space to breathe and reorganize itself. On days when discomfort doesn't manifest itself, it's essential to cultivate a gentle but constant attitude. Conscious care, even in calm moments, strengthens the foundation of the serenity you seek. What you do when the emotional weight lifts is what truly determines how firm your balance will be tomorrow. It's not about rushing, but about compassionate presence and small but firm steps. Comment "Serenity" if you feel like embracing this new phase calmly and respecting your own pace. Type 1 if you have already noticed that this nuisance is trying to teach you something valuable, or 5 if you still feel that it dominates your days without giving you a break. Sometimes a simple gesture, a gentle look inside, is enough for your entire being to once again trust the path you are following. You may have begun this journey with a sense of uneasiness or a silent weight on your chest, but now you are walking with renewed serenity, feeling more present in your own body and emotions. This transformation did not come from instant solutions, but from attentive and patient listening, from the constant care you have dedicated to yourself. Your body speaks every day, revealing secrets that only calm and time allow us to understand. There is no true relief without this deep partnership between mind and organism, a dialogue that flourishes when we give ourselves space to feel, welcome, and accompany. Imagine yourself as an ancient tree that, after long winters, finds the strength to sprout new leaves in spring. Just like this natural renewal, the path you have taken is a new beginning, a promise that, even after internal storms, there is always a light that awakens hope. The body, this wise guardian, knows when it is time to be reborn, to make room for the balance and peace we so desire. The serenity that now lives within you is the fertile soil where lighter and more confident days will blossom. If this message touched your heart, share it with someone who is also seeking this inner calm. And if you want to continue this journey of reconnection at your own pace, sign up. Here, every moment is a safe space to grow and find yourself again. You are not alone.